You are listening to All Skins Everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio, 1340 AM and 96.9 FM, Hopewell, Virginia. Here are your hosts, Wally, Ray, and Will.
You are listening to All Skins Everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio, 1340 AM and 96.9 FM, Hopewell, Virginia. Wally, Ray, and me, Will, even though Ray isn't here.
No, Ray's not here.
But I'm flying solo this week. No Wally.
What?
Nobody. It's just me. Week 3,
Really?
William T. All Skins Everything.
Wait,
Let's get this thing started the way I want to get it started.
Really though?
I'm just kidding, man. What's going on? What's going on, my friend? How you been, man?
Everything's gravy, man. First off, happy birthday, Mega. It's Mega's birthday. Happy birthday, Mega.
For those of you who don't know, Mega is our deceased friend. Real name Ronald L. Watkins.
Ronnie, actually.
Ronnie.
As the joke was Ronald.
Yeah. Ronnie L. Watkins, who passed 5 years ago.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Was taken too young, too soon. Had a lot of too much potential that was left unfilled, but he did leave 2 precious gifts to the world.
Sure did.
2 daughters. So we just want to say happy birthday to you, Ron. And we continue to do this thing that we do, partly in your memory. Definitely.
And as you all know, when we say Mega lead us out, big homie, it's to make sure that everybody still remembers and hears the voice of Ron, of Mega. Also, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and Google Play. Just search All Skins Everything. Make sure you rate us and leave us a comment. Also, tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page.
Let's get into our tradition, the pregame.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about the Skins defeating the Green Bay Packers 31-17.
Fluke.
Then Lex Diamond from Heritage Sports Radio Network will join us to talk about the Skins Packers game as well. Wow, bruh. Finally, in our listener segment, that's Real Talk with the Urban Sports Scene. But first, Sunday, the Skins beat the Green Bay Packers 31-17. I said this last week that if you gave Adrian Peterson the football and made him was consistent and stubborn with the running game, this team would have a good chance to beat the Packers, and they did.
So how did you view the game? Did you go to the stadium as a media member
part of the media.
And watch the game, or did you sit hunkered down alone in a dark,
me so well,
place and watch the game as a depressed and maddening fan?
I was part of the media.
That's what's up.
I was part of the media.
So let me ask you this, because I haven't watched a lot of football. Really haven't watched any football this year.
Yeah, I feel you.
Standing with Cap.
No,
there were reports.
He got Nike. He doing it.
Yeah, there were reports that the stadium was halfway empty.
Where? Which game?
The last 2 games. The
Colts. Yeah, the Colts was empty, and the other game wasn't empty. Just filled with Packers
fans. Green Bay.
Filled with Packer fans.
More Packers fans. You would say it's more Packer fans
easily
than
I feel
Washington
like
fans.
It was half, which is still a lot, though. It's still a lot. I'll say this much: I saw nothing. I saw a lot of green.
Wow.
I saw a lot of green.
Well, I don't want to get too far off track. Do you think it's kind of people are at the point where they're over this team, or is it because this team hasn't been a consistent winner, or I think it's a little bit of everything. A combination of the stadium experience, because people just...
I think it's a little bit of everything. It's the perfect storm. One, obviously, when you don't have consistent or continued success, this is what happens, right? That's one. The fan experience, that's a term that everyone's using, isn't the best. Also, if you're looking at some of the stuff, even parking is still an issue.
I mean, traffic,
expenses, the expense for tickets, and this team again. If you add that into this team not being successful over a long period of time, you're looking at it like, okay, well, why do I need to spend this amount of money while just watching on TV?
I never understood why they. And I don't want to get too far. This last point before we can get back to the game. I never understood why they didn't develop the land and build something around there to kind of make it a game day experience. But
yeah, you know what? That's the goal. That's
when
why
they move to Loudoun County, that's what they'll do.
They'll move to DC.
No, they'll move to Loudoun County.
I bet you DC.
Trust me, my friend.
Trust me, DC. The mayor already said what she's trying to do.
I don't care what she said. Follow the money.
I'm telling you.
Do you think the Commonwealth of Virginia spent $10 million on a training camp facility
for them
to be down there for 4 weeks?
I'm telling you, bro.
That's all they getting out of it?
I'm telling you, bro. It's a bidding war, man.
Okay.
But they still made Richmond a lot of money, though. They made Richmond a lot of money. So they don't owe Richmond anything. They made Richmond money.
They might. I mean, I don't know. But, if I had to hedge my bets, Loudoun County.
I mean, I thought that initially. I'll stay on this. I thought that initially, until momentum for DC kind of gained over the last couple of years. But you are the media,
so you would know. I'm just a regular Joe, so it is what it is.
You know what? You're right. I am the media.
Yes, you are.
I am the media.
You are part of the media.
Yeah, exactly. Don't make me the end all be all of the media. But I would like to say I'm a big part of the media. I'm a very important part. I'm a very important part of the media.
You are, especially when it comes to covering this team.
Yeah, of course, man. And I'm saying, last week when they played the Colts, not Sunday, last week when they played the Colts, they got away from the running game. Adrian Peterson's a running back, and we've seen over our lifetime of a guy who gets better as the games go on. He gets better as the season goes on, right? He's been that type of running back. So to see him go for 120, only 18 carries wasn't surprising. I thought the weather played a big part for this team beating Aaron Rodgers, even though he wasn't healthy. If you're playing a passing quarterback, a guy who that's his thing, it's not like he's using his legs, especially when Aaron Rodgers being hurt. The weather, with the weather conditions and the rain, obviously Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be at his tip top performance with the weather what it was on Sunday.
So I'll just say this: 3 games in, a guy who hasn't watched a lot of football and hasn't really followed this team a lot, did a little bit of research before I came here. I want to be prepared.
Of course.
3 games into the season, to me, it seems as if this team is not dependent, but their success is predicated on Adrian Peterson.
I agree.
His performance is an indicator of how this team will perform.
Oh yeah,
that's what it's been through the first 3 games.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If it plays out for the rest of the 13 games, I don't know, but it seems as if Jay Gruden is more reliant, more confident in a run game this year and using that run game than he has in previous years.
I would say for the 2 victories, right?
Well,
the 2 victories. The game against the Colts, he went away from the run. He got too cute, tried to drop back a little bit too much against it doesn't matter who it's against, but decided to get too cute and rely on the passing game. Again, when the formula was set in week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, when you ran the football, you were successful. Why go away from something that works? We've seen that with all great coaches. And it's funny, and the thing about it is, even when we look at Philadelphia and the Eagles, right? When you look at Carson Wentz, you think, oh my God, they throw the ball left and right. But they have a great run. Last season they had a really good running game. An effective running game. It goes hand in hand. So when you have a guy like Adrian Peterson who looks like he has a lot left in the tank, why not utilize him? And I feel like you said, Will T, like you utilize Adrian. If the Redskins utilize Adrian Peterson, it just shows that right now they're very competitive.
Yeah, they came out first play, took a shot with Paul Richardson, connected on that shot.
46-yard touchdown pass.
46-yard touchdown pass. Then you also had pressure that was generated from your D line.
Yeah.
It's looking like the defensive line is a strength for this team this year with Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Matt Ioannidis. You aren't getting much production pass rushing sacks from your 2 outside linebackers, Preston Smith
no, you're not.
And Ryan Kerrigan. If you would have thought that if someone had told you that Washington's defense is generating pressure up front, you would have thought that Preston Smith and Ryan Kerrigan will probably have like 3 sacks apiece.
Yeah, you would think that it would be them that was putting down the pressure. I'm with you. When you look at the Redskins defense, the front 7, the Redskins front 7, it's been, to be honest with you, Matt Ioannidis, he's been the guy that's been getting the boatload of pressure. He has 3 sacks this season. He has a sack in each game this season. Finally, Jonathan Allen came out and played. He had 2 sacks just on Sunday, and the Redskins have been waiting for Jonathan Allen. You always saw flashes with Payne, but you're right. Kerrigan and Preston Smith, they have to step up, and they haven't. And that's the thing they need to do, like Preston, because you're paying Kerrigan a nice load of money as a premier pass rusher, and he hasn't shown up. Go ahead.
The thing is with Preston Smith, isn't this
contract year?
Well, it's a contract year, but isn't this the routine with him? Then towards the end of the year,
he gets hot, but he gets guarded.
He gets like 6.5 sacks.
It's almost like
10 games.
It's almost like a Ryan Kerrigan, right? Kerrigan will look kind of, then all of a sudden he gets that tackle that may not be one of the better tackles in football, and he just feasts on that tackle, and then his stats get prorated. Same thing with Preston Smith at times. You want to see them step up when they're going against the best. You want to see that, and you want to see consistency. You want to, if not generating sacks, see at least generating pressure, right? That's what you want.
You miss Trent Murphy yet?
No, Trent Murphy's not anything to me. You know, he forced a fumble off of Kirk Cousins over the weekend. I mentioned Jonathan Allen had 2 sacks. I spoke to cornerback Josh Norman about the play.
Oh, you spoke to him?
Yeah,
so,
I spoke
you went to the locker room?
Yeah.
That's your guy. That's
what
your
I
guy.
do.
That's your guy.
Hey, dude, that's what I do. That's what I do. The play. I talked to Norman about the play of Allen, and this is what he had to say.
I know you get so fabulous, so mad.
Jonathan Allen played too. He got a sack. The guy's like, come on, man. The defensive line is menacing. So when we're able to hold up like that, they can have as many sacks they want. I really don't care. As long as we get a W on the board, they can do their thing. And I'll sit back there and I'll congratulate them like I'm the #1 cheerleader on their bench. You know? Gosh, man, it takes a lot of us. We just got to keep this going. Is there a...
Yeah, that's J No. They call him J No. That's what they call him.
J No. That's
what they call him.
That's what the media. That's what
they
media
call
guys
him. We call him J No. That's J No. And J No, he said it right though. He said it right. When those D linemen are putting pressure on the quarterback, and everybody knows the secondary and D line, they go hand in hand. When they put pressure, it makes the cornerbacks and the whole secondary looks better. So, but I'm just glad to see Jonathan Allen finally step up. He's a guy that this team needs to dominate. He was a first-round pick last season. They got his homeboy, Deron Payne. He had his first sack of the season against the Packers as well. So, if that front seven can continue to improve, this Redskins defense could be, consistently one of the better defenses this whole season. I believe before I haven't checked the stats before yesterday's game, they were ranked. They had the best defense, total defense in the NFL.
That means absolutely nothing.
I'm just
absolutely nothing.
Why, man?
Well, first of all, it's a small sample size, 3 games.
Yeah.
2, you have to take in consideration the quality of the opponents. 3, you have to take into consideration the score. Is it a situation where you're blowing guys out, then you're running the ball, playing, clock control, things like that. You know what I care about?
What?
Are you creating pressure and creating turnovers?
Well, they create turnovers. They are doing that.
Are you creating turnovers? Because the Super Bowl winning teams create turnovers.
Well, you just dominate. I'm all about dominating. If you could just dominate, you can get 3 and outs. The teams can't move the ball on you. I'm for it. Like that's the way I like. That's what I like to see. Because you could tell when the defense, it's ranked high, but they're not a dominant defense. All I care about is like being more physical up front and punishing your opponent. And that's when you watch the teams like the Baltimore Ravens, even though like they don't have like a Ray Lewis, but you see that brand of football. To me, that's a solid defense. I don't care what they're ranked.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I look at a good defense. Adrian, like I mentioned before, Adrian Peterson had 18 carries for 120 yards against the Packers. Currently, he's 5th in the NFL in rushing. Would you say Adrian Peterson is the best running back in the NFC East?
Absolutely not.
So you go with Zeke?
I go with Zeke. I go with Saquon Barkley.
Saquon ain't proven nothing yet. Not yet. I think eventually, but not yet though. I'm gonna go Saquon.
I mean, look, if you
in the NFC, like I'm talking about this season. I wouldn't say.
No, look, I'm all I can do is I can base off of. I know the production may not be there, but if you look at his running style, you look at
I like Saquon
how
Barkley.
He finishes runs. You look at the swiftness, the cuts.
I like Saquon. You will never hear me talk bad about Saquon.
Nah,
Zeke to me, I always feel like Zeke is it's beneficial when Zeke plays a particular way because that O line is so stout.
Well, no, Zeke had I watched a couple of his highlights. He had a couple of cutback runs.
No, he's not. I didn't say Zeke wasn't good. I just said that O line makes him that much better. It's like, for instance, if you put.
So this is the question.
Le'Veon Bell.
Or the egg, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's true though. You're right. If you put Le'Veon Bell in that backfield, how much better is he than Zeke?
That's Le'Veon Bell though, man.
I'm just saying. Like that's how.
Le'Veon,
But that's how they talk
Bell.
about. I get it, but that's how they talk about Zeke though. They act like Zeke is on par with a Le'Veon Bell or Gurley. Do you think Zeke is better than Gurley?
No.
Okay, so if Gurley's on with that line. It's insane. But the thing about it is you have people that will say that Zeke is better than Gurley.
I don't think you can fairly compare both of them. I mean, if you're asking me which guy would I rather have, I'd rather have Todd Gurley. He's a more well-rounded back. Catches the ball. Not that Zeke can't catch the ball. He doesn't a lot.
Yeah, not like Gurley.
Yeah, that's not a prerequisite for him in that offense. But, Todd Gurley came out and showed last year that he was the total package, and the only thing that was holding him back was Jeff Fisher.
he does that. He does that to all though, right? Jeff Fisher does that too.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher. He
did it to Goff.
He did it to Goff. He did it to Eddie George when he was in Tennessee.
He sure did do that.
He ran Eddie George into the ground. And Eddie George also brought some of that on himself by he runs upright.
Yeah, I agree. So I posed a question before we go to break. I posed a question about Adrian Peterson if he's the best back in the NFC East. My man Dave on our Facebook page said Barkley. Thorne Coachman said, "Yep, AP's the best," and Tyrone Perry said, "AP, yeah."
Y'all some homers.
I knew. Some homers though, really?
Yeah,
though?
homers, man.
You think so?
No, look, don't get me wrong.
AP, we're talking about Adrian Peterson though.
He's a bad man, but
he's greatness. It's like, are we like doubting greatness now though?
I'm not doubting greatness, but it's 3 games in.
Agreed. 3 games. It's early though.
Pause.
I know.
Pause.
I'm
Let's
with
take
you.
a pause on that one.
No, I'm with you. All right. Lex Diamonds from Heritage Sports Radio Network will join us to talk more about the Skins-Packers game after the break. You're listening to All Skins Everything with the Urban Sports site for ages. You dig? Deuces.
Him straining his hamstring was the best thing that happened to the Redskins. That he actually saved the game for us. He kept us in the game. Because, like I said, nobody was able to block him. No Portis back there. So really, he had free sacks all day. I'm going to go with the Bears, especially after Monday night. They just beat their rivalry, the Packers. They're 3-0. Mike Marsh, Jay Cutler, they being loved right now in Chicago. Especially if they have the chance to win the division. Lions, they suck. Favre is struggling, so they're happy to see that in Chicago. So I'm about to say.
You listen to All Skills Everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 1340 AM and 96.9 FM, Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wally here. Ray's out. Will T just left, so it's this segment's gonna be me and Lex. Before I get to Lex, you heard my man Ron, Big Ron Mega. R.I.P. Like we mentioned, was his birthday. We're gonna play clips of Ron on old school Urban Sports Scene shows. So we're letting you listen to Ron's voice for our new listeners for the All Skins Everything podcast show. Ron was a big Redskins fan. You heard, Ron talking all sports, but I wanted to make sure y'all got a glimpse to hear my man Mega. One of my nearest and dearest best friends. Again, it's his birthday, and he was special to all of us, man. He started this whole thing. He helped start this whole foundation. He wasn't the mainstay on the show, but he was always doing guest appearances and always showed support to us, to the team, the unit, the original Urban Sports Scene that kind of dwindled down to 3, but he was one of the people who definitely had our backs and showed us so much love. But right now we have Lex Diamonds from Heritage Sports Radio Network on the line. What's up, Lex?
Hey man, I'm doing well, man. I'm still trying to I guess wring out all this water from this weekend.
I know, right? Way too much rain. Especially way too much rain. But you know what? The rain was beneficial for the Washington Redskins on Sunday because Aaron Rodgers you didn't get to have that bad man Aaron Rodgers at his tip-top game.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was thinking the opposite. I felt like Aaron Rodgers played extremely well. I think the problem was his teammates. They were kind of caught up because of the environment. Receivers dropping passes and things of that nature. But I thought Aaron Rodgers, for the circumstances, he did come in the game with a knee brace on, injured slightly from that week 1 matchup with the Bears, and he was very mobile and, very threatening at times.
At times. Well, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's definitely threatening.
Yeah, man. And that, I think for me, I never felt like the game was over until Green Bay didn't have the ball any longer and they didn't have any more timeout. Then I felt like the game was over. And Washington played extremely well offensively in the first half of this game, which pretty much gave them this victory. I mean, they had a lot of success early on, and Green Bay just, they were just deeper, had a deep hole. They just couldn't get out.
I know last week, and I'm sorry, we didn't get a tape last week's show. Something happened, but we did talk. So I know last week, you weren't that confident going to this game. Like, you were scared. You wouldn't even give us a prediction. Like, you kind of really walked the fine line without even trying to say a single darn thing about this game. But the Redskins won. How do you what was your belief system? Your belief? What was your feeling when that happened? When they won, you were like, "Whoa, we beat the Packers."
I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to expect. After we watched Game 2.
Yeah, I know, right?
And how they just kind of laid an egg against Indianapolis. For me, it was sort of like they let the air out of the balloon. Because week 1, I really thought Washington was one of the elite teams in football this season.
Yeah.
Especially, we got a new quarterback, we got a new running back. You know what I mean? We got our tight end back. We added some pieces up front on the defensive line. I really was looking at this team like, okay, this is a new squad. We got everybody back. Nobody's injured. And we come back in week 2, and we look terrible. We look like the old Redskins. So when you guys were asking me, Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay coming to town, naturally your natural instinct, the best quarterback is coming to town. He's hobbling, but he's had success at FedEx before. I didn't really see defensively. I didn't figure out a way for us to stop this.
No, I'm with
you. Aaron Rodgers looked unbeatable. Every time Aaron Rodgers gets on the field, I mean, literally, you never see him really have any bad games. He's always having success. And I just felt like Washington was in a bad, was heading into this game. They were in a bad place, but man, they look like a completely different team.
So are you back? Are you back on having that feeling that this team is a real contender to win it all? Are you back, or are you back? Are you like a little bit in the middle right now?
I'm not going to be in the middle. I do see that there has been some improvement with this team, because I think the first 3 weeks of this season so far, we've seen a very great, some great performances from the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I do see some, and I'm speaking as a whole. I'm not speaking about Josh Norman, because I still see Josh Norman getting beat by receivers. But I'm speaking as a whole. The defensive line has definitely improved. The linebackers are, functional. and I can say the offense, with everybody healthy, I think they can be unstoppable when everybody is playing.
Oh yeah.
Now, if they lose some players, like they lost Sheriff for a couple of series in the Indianapolis game, then we're going to have some problems.
So, I mean, I wanted to talk to you about this one. The secret weapon, right? And I felt in this game. Now, his stat line wasn't impressive at all, but he was a factor because he had 2 PIs on that one drive. He had 2 PIs, and you can say like, all right, if the dude, the cornerback, I want to say it was Williams. If Williams didn't grab Josh Dotson, we're referring to Josh Dotson, that Josh Dotson has a big play. But can you talk about his impact in that game, or for you, it may be his lack of impact? Well,
I can honestly say the secret weapon, there is no secret that he is not a weapon. We can honestly say that now. I mean, if you watch football last night and you saw the one that supposedly is supposed to be still wearing burgundy and gold, the secret weapon was supposed to replace Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson at 32 is still balling.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And we gave up Deshaun Jackson for Josh Dotson. I don't make decisions. And if I was a general manager or someone in authority, I would be kind of disappointed right now because we gave up on this guy too soon.
I mean, I've always said that this team should have kept Deshaun Jackson. I thought that they should have kept Deshaun Jackson and kept Josh Dotson, and made Josh Dotson the number 2 wide receiver. I think, and worked off of that. I think it would have been easier for Josh Dotson. I just feel like for a young kid right now, they're asking for so much out of him, and it's not like Josh Dotson has been groomed or has been mentored to be a number 1 wide receiver. It's funny because Josh Dotson was a late first round pick, and honestly, usually for a guy where Josh Dotson was drafted, you usually have like a veteran wide receiver that can teach you while you're on the field. Josh Dotson, his first year, he wasn't really on the field and didn't get an opportunity to really learn from Pierre and Deshaun. But usually you want a guy to teach him the right way, to teach him to run routes, teach him certain things he may not pick up from his coaches, but he can pick up from teammates. And he didn't get that opportunity. And now you're asking him just to be the number 1 wide receiver. It doesn't typically work that way with young wide receivers unless you're like freakish talent wide receivers, like an Andre Johnson. Even that, if you look at Andre Johnson's stats from his rookie year, wasn't the best, but an Andre Johnson, Randy Moss comes to mind, like is a great wide receiver, and he had a Chris Carter. They're usually you want to groom them into that position. I feel like the Redskins did it backwards with a Josh Dotson.
I don't see number 1 receiver.
You don't?
This guy. No, I don't see a number 1 receiver. I mean, and you can compare him now to the other receivers that are in his age bracket.
Yeah, that's true.
In the last 3 years, you got Calvin Ridley that came out this year, just with the Atlanta Falcons, and he is good. He is really good.
I know, but look who he's playing with, though. Again, he's playing with Julio. Like I'm just saying, like usually you don't ask. I guess my thing is you don't ask a person like Josh Dotson, who is he coming into saying, okay, all right, I'm gonna learn from this dude. This dude, you know what I mean? You learn from Julio. Like really learn from Julio. You have even the kid that was drafted ahead of that they could have traded for. He plays for Houston. He went to Notre Dame. What's the dude's name? I can't get his think of his name.
About William Fuller?
Yeah, Fuller. Look at Fuller. Like Fuller's putting up numbers, but Fuller plays with Hopkins. So it's like you're not asking Fuller to do but so much because you're playing with Hopkins. It's like I'm not saying that Josh Dawson deserves no fault. I think Josh Dawson needs to step up. And I'll tell anybody like, hey, when you got two hands on the football, you gotta catch it. But at the same time, it's not like he's in a situation that some of these other young wide receivers are dealing with.
Well, you can go ahead and get on that bandwagon.
Hey, I'm still on it, man.
I've seen enough of the secret weapon to know at this point that they're going to have to go in a different direction next season.
Next season?
I'm just being honest because it's 3 years.
It's true. It is. This is year 3. I'm not going to even argue. You're right. This is year 3. And you have to show this year he has to have a better year than he had last year. I totally agree. He has to be better than he was last year. And right now, it looks like last year was, at this point in time, it's early. Again, we're in 3 games. It's early. But right now, it looks like last season was better for him than what we're seeing now. So I'm not going to.
It doesn't help that Alex Smith is kind of known for not really going to his wide receivers.
Yeah, it doesn't. But he went to Richardson, and he was going to Richardson.
I think the whole Richardson thing, I think Richardson is supposed to be the Deshaun Jackson.
Oh, yeah, he is. He is. You can tell.
You can kind of see it.
Yeah,
he does have that burst.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he is as explosive as
he's not.
Deshaun Jackson.
I don't think so, but he's fast enough, though.
Yeah, and you capacity with the receiver screens and the deep routes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very successful. A funny story. So I do fantasy, and I was debating about my third receiver because I had Josh Gordon, and I didn't really think that the Patriots were going to let him play this first game against Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So I was debating on what to do. I had Beasley from the Cowboys. He was flirting with an injury all week, and I drafted Richardson, but I released him and put him on the waiver wire. I picked him back up 2 minutes before kickoff.
Oh, did you?
And man, 2 minutes before kickoff, I picked him up, dropped Cole Beasley, and started Richardson. And Richardson catches his projected points on literally 2 plays.
Did you know? Like, all right, so did you like the matchup, or did you just do it just because you were like, I don't trust.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Beasley.
For me, it was like I picked Richardson because I felt like they were going to use Richardson like Deshaun Jackson.
Okay.
And he's going to be more like the playmaker guy.
Got you.
And I kind of got a glimpse of that in week 1. That's what his role was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really help me for my fantasy team the first 2 weeks. So I was just like, I'm gonna drop him and I'm gonna, go a different direction. But Cole Beasley was injured. And I saw Richardson out there, and I said, you know what? This might be the game that Richardson finally produced.
Time out. I just know what I didn't even think about this. Wait, time out. You got Cole Beasley? You had Cole Beasley on your team?
I picked him
the
up
Cowboy?
on the way.
You picked the Cowboy?
I picked him up.
You picked the
Yeah,
Cowboy?
I picked him up.
That's what we doing right now? That's that what we doing right now? Is that what's popping on the streets right now? We picking Cowboys now?
Fantasy football, you kind of have to, your allegiance to teams, you kind of have to close your eyes to that and base it on the statistics and the numbers.
Anytime I see a Cowboy, I run. Like, I don't even try. Like, I remember when Jason Witten used to be the dog in fantasy in terms of tight ends, one of the, better tight ends in football. I used to just, skip him every time. I'm like, no, I can't do it. Like, I just can't. And he would always fall in my lap. Like, I would always have the opportunity to draft him. Even though I needed a tight end, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a rookie.
Hey, I understand. I feel you, man. There was a rule at one time that I didn't put any of my favorite team players on my squad.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good rule. That's a good rule.
Because you get attached to your team and you put those guys out there. But I think in our case, we have some talented players. You saw Jordan Reed. He's one of the top tight ends, in the game. Alex Smith, if you had him this week, he produced. Because Alex Smith had a tremendous game. He did a really good job of moving the offense. It didn't look like Washington had any issues with the rain. So, we back to the Redskins. So I'm happy that they were able to beat Green Bay, and I'm happy for Jay because he finally trusted the running game. He finally trusted Adrian Peterson and let Adrian play, his natural position, which is just a monster.
Yeah. Going downhill, no stretch, not that many stretch plays. Thank you. Like him going downhill he's an assassin. Speaking of Adrian Peterson, he went for 120 yards, 18 carries, 2 touchdowns. I'm gonna pose you this question we posed on our last segment. Who do you, with the way Adrian Peterson is playing right now? I believe he's 5th in rushing. In the NFL, he's fifth in rushing. Excuse me. Do you think he's the best running back in the NFC East?
The best running back in the NFC East?
Yeah.
I think the body of work, he's the best running back, out of the running backs that are playing. But he's not better than the guy in Dallas. He's not better than him.
Man, Zeke got a line, man. Man, Zeke got a line, man. He got a line.
Man, let me tell you something. Ezekiel Elliott has been balling since college. Now, you can say he has a line, but I will say this. Ezekiel Elliott, I was afraid that Ezekiel Elliott was going to be a Cowboy. That was the one thing I did not want to happen. And Dallas ended up drafting this guy because he is a monster running back. There's no question about Zeke Elliott. He's a talented guy. I can't take that from him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's talented enough. You know who my college football team is, right? I'll give you a guess.
I'm assuming it's not Ohio State.
It's not Ohio State, so you know it's the opposite. You know it. So, like, when I watched Ezekiel Elliott, I guess for me, when I watched Ezekiel Elliott and all the Ohio State backs that I felt like it really did crucial damage over the last, some odd years, I always thought like Carlos Hyde was better than Zeke. I just personally thinking. I thought Carlos Hyde was a monster.
Okay.
I thought Zeke was good. I guess my issue when Zeke was drafted, like he was 5th overall, the Cowboys had the fifth pick overall, I believe. I think he was 5th overall, and I could be wrong, but I think it was around that number. I thought to myself, like, out of all these running backs that everybody's scared to draft early in terms of being special, and everyone's saying like, okay, like Zeke is a once in a lifetime generation. I don't see that with Zeke. I don't look at him as a once in a lifetime generation type of running back. And maybe it could be my hate, because I do hate Ohio State players. I'm not gonna lie to you, I do. I'm not gonna even play it off. Other than Chris Carter, there's so many. I hate almost all Ohio State players.
Yeah, it's gotta be. He's one of those, undeniable talents. Like Randy Moss was an undeniable talent. Came in the league. You know what I'm saying? I think Russell Maryland and Warren Sapp were undeniable guys. You just knew that when they got in the league that they were going to be, problems. Mm-hmm. They were going to be problem child. You know what I'm saying? It's just certain guys that you just kind of know that they're going to be tough to beat. And I think Zeke showed enough in college. I mean, like every time I saw the guy run, he was running north-south. Make a couple of cuts, but he knew how to get to that end zone. And I think for me, it's like he runs straight to the hash marks, and he's gone. He's a phenomenal talent. It's unfortunate he wears silver and he wears a cutoff shirt.
It's all good. He wear cutoff shirts. That's cool. I'm cool with Zeke. He'll, at the end of the day, Zeke will be a talent that everyone forgets eventually. He can rock that star all he wants. What's going to happen, like, he can rock it all he wants. I mean, Zeke is talented, though. I won't even lie. He's talented. Because you can tell when he gets his second yardage. But you can say same about Saquon Barkley. Like, Saquon Barkley, I think someone, when I posed this question on our social media page, on Twitter, someone told me that they believe that Saquon Barkley is the best back in the NFC East. And I was like, well, not now. But he will eventually. But not now.
Well, I think we have to see him play 16 games. Mm-hmm. We haven't really seen him play a whole season yet, and I'm curious how he does against teams with the better defenses. This past week, who they play this week?
They played Texas. He did well against Texas. He did well against Jacksonville. Jacksonville has the bet. He had 100 yards against Jacksonville, which was impressive.
he didn't do well against Jacksonville.
Get that one
he
run.
had one.
That's
he had
hey,
one
man.
run.
We can't take that away because that's the thing about being a running back. I mean, that's what Barry. Oh, we love Barry Sanders, right? You love Barry Sanders? Are you a big Barry Sanders fan? Barry, look, I love Barry. Barry used to have them kind of games where he was getting stopped, and then all of a sudden he dropped a 70 on you, and you were like, oh shoot, he had a great game. Barry was that way too, though. At times, it was like Barry at times he would have games where he wasn't consistently giving you like 3 or 5 yards a pop. I'm not gonna say 3 because that's insulting. He didn't have those games where he didn't give you 5 yards. He had games where he was giving you 3, maybe 2 at times, and then all of a sudden Barry would just pop one. You'd be like, oh, okay, it's Barry.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
was special.
Yeah, he was special.
But Barry Sanders was special in college. He was special at Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
You could tell that he was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
I think Barkley, they're kind of saying that he's going to be on that level. Oh, I got to see more. I got to see.
It's funny because you like the way you talk about Zeke is how I view Saquon in college. I think Saquon is amazing, and I hate they play for the Giants. Like that's the second. That's like the team. That's the second most hated team I have period in my life is the Giants. It stems back from LT and all that. Like I hate the Giants, but like when they drafted Saquon, I was pissed. Like I was thoroughly pissed. It was like when the Cowboys drafted Dez Bryant, I was pissed because these are guys I followed in college and I just actually like fell in love with as football players. And like when I watched Saquon Barkley, I just see special, like because like Ohio State has always had top tier talent around him. Like because Meyer recruits well. Like he has top tier talent. He has pros everywhere. When you look at Penn State, from when Saquon got there and what he dealt with in terms of what was around him, they were coached well, but he didn't have that Penn State squad wasn't talented around him. You know what I mean? Like when I look at what Saquon did when he went against USC in that Rose Bowl, what he did against that defense, when in terms of some of the athletes that USC had, I was like, yo, he's the truth. Like this dude is the truth.
Yeah, and I think with time you'll see. They always say the cream rises to the top.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see if he is, at least for the Giants' sake, they hope that he's going to be one of the special running backs.
Yeah.
Because they're already getting hate mail because they drafted him instead of the quarterback in New York, the Jets.
Yeah, Darnold. To be honest with you, Baker. Look at Baker. Like Darnold's struggling a little bit. Look at Baker though. Baker's a baller, and I didn't like Baker at Oklahoma. Baker looked good though.
I'm gonna say first game out on the field, Baker Mayfield looked really good.
Didn't he though?
He
looked the part though, right? He looked the part.
Yeah, and the fans are gonna love him there.
Mm-hmm.
If he can stay healthy and continue to play like he did on Thursday, at that high level where he had complete command of the offense, and you could clearly see the difference between him and Tyrod.
You can. I like Tyrod, which is true.
Was afraid to throw the football.
Yeah.
In different places. Immediately, Baker comes in the game, and he's throwing strikes all over the field.
And his passes have zip to it. You know what I mean? Like. It just looks. He looks the part, man. Real talk. The way he manipulates the pocket too, like how he moves in the pocket. He looks the part.
Yeah, and they hyped him and said he was the next Brett Favre.
Mm-hmm.
It's early.
It's early.
It's real early. It's only been one game. It's only been 2 quarters.
Mm-hmm. It's real early.
So we're not gonna, make him rookie of the year and put him in Canton.
Yeah,
but. That one game, he looked like he was the best quarterback out of this class.
I totally agree. So going into the bye, Redskins have a bye. What do you believe that the Skins need to work on when they get back and play the Saints?
It's crazy that we have a bye so early. I mean, there's no injuries, no significant injuries this early, which is great. And for Washington, it's going to have to be a lot of film watching because the New Orleans Saints. First 3 games of the season, they've been balling. And for Washington's defense, which I think has played extremely well the first 3 weeks, Josh Norman is going to earn his money in 2 weeks, and that's on Monday night. But the one player that I'm most concerned about is Alvin Kamara, the running back.
Yeah.
Because he is like he's like Darren Sproles, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Marshall Faulk on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a combination of all those guys, capable of catching 12 to 15 passes out of the backfield, capable of running 150 yards on the ground. So he's a guy that you have to pay attention to. I think if you can contain him, you can have success against the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees is going to get his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get his numbers, but you got to kind of control some of his weapons that he's so used to going to, and that should be a very fun football game. And Washington get an opportunity to kind of relax before they go into that Monday night game, and I think if they can win that game, man, I think we're in a good place because Atlanta is struggling defensively because they lost both safeties.
I know, that's Ray's team. Ray's a Falcons fan.
Yeah, they're struggling defensively. So I think Washington has a good opportunity because those were games that people had them losing.
Mm-hmm.
They can beat the Saints, beat Atlanta, and then they got a match with Dallas and Carolina in that mix. I think Washington might be in a much better place than what people expected.
Agree, because the people had the Skins losing to the Packers. They already got a game that people didn't expect them to win, so they have one in the belt. You know what I mean? One in the bag. Obviously, people expect them to beat the Colts, so I guess that it's a trade-off, right? So but they're 2-1. They're going into the bye. They'll have the Saints. The thing they have, and I'm not going to talk about the Saints thoroughly, but the thing they do, because we'll probably talk about that next week. But the thing they do have on the Saints is that going to New Orleans, this team has typically played well in New Orleans. It's not like when they go to New Orleans they get blown out. Truth be told, if you look at over the last, I want to say 5 to 6 years, this team has been pretty effective going to New Orleans and playing New Orleans. And even last year, they lost the game they should have won. You're going to go against, but for me, going into the bye, this team needs to work on. It's going to be funny, you may not believe me or not, but they need to work on their run defense. If you look at not the amount of carries, because teams aren't running the ball a lot on the Redskins, but if you look at the average yards per carry in that Colts game, and also in this Packers game, it hasn't looked good. You know what I mean? Missed tackles, running lanes. They're going to have to fix that up ASAP because the Saints will probably get back. I think Mark Ingram will be back in that game. You'll have Kamara. So you'll have a two-headed monster back. They're gonna have to be ready to stop the run. So if I'm Manusky and company, Tom Sula, I'm getting this team ready defensively in terms of in the trenches to stop the run because the Saints will run the ball against this defense the way they've been playing defensively.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I have been noticing the issues up front with stopping the run. They've been getting gashed when teams have, ran the football. But what has happened is most teams, I guess they're so pass happy.
Exactly. Agreed.
The teams they played, they've been pass happy squads, so they're not going to commit to running the game. And most teams, it seems that they're taking the running game out of their arsenal. They just do enough running to just kind of keep you honest. But their goal is to throw 50 times a game, which is insane, especially if a team can't stop the run. And Washington has shown, at times that they have struggled, stopping the run. They do well, though, pass. They do well against the pass. It's the run that's an issue. You look at it so you mentioned, it's funny, so you mentioned like Zeke. When you play the Cowboys ain't going to try overly. They're not going to try to just throw the ball. They're going to pound Zeke because they know Dak isn't ready yet to carry a team in a passing game. They're going to pound Zeke against the Skins. So yeah, my issue with this team is that in the bye they got to hammer that through. Either find a better rotation, trying to get the young boy Tim Settles in a little bit more, or if it's linebacker play, whatever it may be. I'm not talking about Zach Brown because Zach Brown's good against the run. But if it's that linebacker play or, whatever, people not staying in their gaps, people not getting off blocks, they got to get that situated in the bye because, again, Mark Ingram and Kamara, that combination is coming. It is coming. And like you mentioned, that's a two-headed monster. And for Washington to be successful, they need to control the time of possession. And they need to keep the Saints off the field as much as possible, because they're going to have to score some points. They really are.
Yeah, they are.
Think about the games that the Saints have been in. They played some close games. And they squeaked by the Cleveland Browns, who we know now have a top.
Oh, they got top tier defense.
Top 10 defense.
Yeah, top tier defense. Agreed.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they do in 2 weeks. But the good thing is they're in the bye. They're 2-1. You know, they have some positives going into this bye, and it's not 3 weeks of talking about bad football. So Washington, they won this. You know, they won, and now they can kind of have a little bit of peace of mind that, you know, that the world's not coming to an end in Redskin world. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely know what you're saying. I just want that. I want the Lex emotions, like how high they were after the Cardinals game. I want that back. So I'm hoping that, you know, after the bye, the Skins beat the Saints, and I think Lex will be talking Super Bowl again. I want that Lex back.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: if they beat the Saints on Monday night in front of the nation, let the nation know that we're here and we're not going anywhere. That will be a huge statement. Because if you think about it, knocking off Green Bay was huge. Minnesota lost to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that was great.
You know, so for us, you know, watching Tampa Bay, you know, barely lose to the Steelers, and now they're going to get their quarterback.
Oh, you know they're not starting them? They're not letting them start.
Right. So they've created a quarterback controversy.
Yeah, they're going to start Fitz. They're going to start Fitz.
That's going to cause controversy. So I think we're in a good spot. Dallas is not a good football team. The Giants are struggling, and the Eagles are just getting their quarterback, and they have a lot of injuries. They don't even have a number one receiver right now.
No, Alshon hurt.
So we're in a good position to kind of move ahead of the pack. You know, I think it's just time for some new faces. The Chicago Bears have kind of emerged in their division. Minnesota and Green Bay, they've struggled the last 2 weeks. You know, this past week. So now they're kind of looking up to the Bears. So for the Redskins, it's a great opportunity. We won against Arizona. We won against Green Bay. So that means we have 2 wins in the conference, 2 very important wins. And now, you know, as we get closer to the meat of the schedule, when we get to play our divisional rivals, you know, those 2 victories that we've already kind of collected from Green Bay and Arizona, I think long term is going to benefit Washington.
So, hey, Lex, before I let you go, again, let our listeners know, you know, how to get you on social media and what you got going on.
Well, with me, man, it's always something going on musically. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Lex Diamonds without the A. Right now we have an artist, Trez Falsetto, that's making some moves. R&B. He's really making his way up the ladder. He just opened up for New Edition out in St. Louis.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so he's still making his moves, man, and we just kind of like going along, and hopefully one of these days you're gonna look up and you're gonna be like, man, Lex is standing on stage at the Grammys.
Yeah, what's Sanaya?
Talking about Go Red.
With Sanaya chilling. When she gives you
you said Sanaya.
Yeah, with Sanaya. After she's gonna hand you the award. Sanaya's gonna hand you the award.
Okay, I thought you was telling me I had your permission.
No, you don't have my permission. You do not. I will not grant you that. I will not grant you.
You can have Sanaya. I'm a fan of the young lady on Black Lightning.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you talking about the lady who's a superhero, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love her. You know what? Real talk, I am in love with her too. She is awesome.
No, you can't
I'm not
be in
taking
love
her.
with
No, I'm with Sanaya. But you know what? Yeah, I have a thing for her too. I do. I do. I talk to her about my boy. I talk to my boy about her all the time. When the show was on, is it coming back on? Is the new season
2
up?
weeks.
2 weeks? Oh yeah,
2 weeks.
that's what I'm talking about. All right, Lex Dell, thanks for being on, man. Appreciate you, my man.
All right, man. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you next week.
You know it, my man. You know it. Again, that is Lex Diamonds from Heritage Sports Radio Network. Great guy, weekly contributor to all skins, everything with the urban sports scene. But it's time for That's Real Talk with the urban sports scene. See you after the break.
I think the offense is very similar when McNabb was younger, but now Vic has and Andy Reid both have explosive wide receivers, and it's an up-tempo offense, which I really like. But I was impressed with the Philly defense by holding the coach down, especially Asante Samuel. He has Peyton Mann's number ever since he's back in New England.
You're listening to All Skins, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio, 1340 AM and 96.9 FM, Hopewell, Virginia. I'm Wally. Ray and Will T are out. Will T left. Thanks again for Will for staying for the first segment, man. Appreciate Will. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. Just search All Skins, everything with the urban sports team. Make sure you rate us and leave us a comment. Also, do the same for us on Google Play. We're on Google Play, so make sure you do the same. You heard my man Ron again. Today is Ron's day, man. This podcast is built for Ron, man. It's his day. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, big homie. Much love, man. Miss you. It's time for That's Real Talk with the urban sports scene. Anytime you feel like ranting about the Skins or you have a question, call us and leave a message. Here's the number. It's 301-799-5407. You can also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene or hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. We will feature your comments on the show. Here we go. This message is from George.
Hello, All Skins, everything. This is George. I had to hold my fire for a week after last week's terrible performance because I didn't want to rip Jay Gruden a new one just in case he got right and somehow the Redskins won against the Packers this week, and that's what happened. So I'm glad I didn't take any respect back from his name because I was ready to last week, but I wanted to give it this week before I did it. And I want to give Jay Gruden a lot of credit. They were so passive on offense. His play calling was passive. They didn't have any confidence, and it showed last week. Well, this week they came out, and not only did you see Adrian Peterson back to doing what he does best, which is running north and south and finding the crease and making the most of it. But the first touchdown is a deep pass to Paul Richardson that Alex Smith had the confidence to throw it, and he had the confidence that Richardson would go and make a play, and Richardson went and made a play. And that's all I think most Redskins fans are asking is try to show some confidence in the players you have, even if they're not as good as we want them to be or whatever. And try to take the game to somebody. And they took the game to Green Bay yesterday, and it's just something was to see the stat about Jay Gruden that in his tenure, when they are up 7-0, they're 18-7. And they talked a lot about how the great a front-running team the Redskins are. To be truly great, they got to be able to win to be able to win when things aren't going their way and when they had faced adversity. And unfortunately, they probably haven't figured that part out yet. But at the very least, they must know and realize that you can't come out and play not to lose. You got to come out and attack people. As for who was the real MVP, well, I'm going completely off the Redskins game to say the real MVP yesterday was the Buffalo Bills defense, who reminded everybody of what Kirk Cousins often is, not all the time, but often is, and by making him look like a complete shower of you-know-what. and putting all the pros Cousins people who were mouthy and chirping on social media and running their crap about, oh, I can't imagine anybody thinks that Alex Smith is better than Kirk Cousins. That yesterday against Buffalo was the real Kirk Cousins. To be fair, what he did against Green Bay is the real Kirk Cousins too. The problem is there is far too much of the latter and not enough of the former. And that's why he's in Minnesota, and that's why he didn't deserve that money that he got. And I want to thank the Buffalo Bills fans because all those mouthy Kirk Cousins fans were real quiet yesterday, and that made yesterday even more enjoyable than it already was. Until next time, gentlemen.
Hey, George, I think it's hilarious. The Kirk Cousins fans, I'm glad you brought up the Buffalo Bills. The Kirk Cousins fans, oh my God, they're so quiet. I have this one dude, T-Live on Twitter. You know I love you, bro. You know I love you. But your infatuation with Kirk Cousins kills me, man. Like, kills me. Because at the same time, Kirk bombed against Buffalo. And you made all the excuses in the world, but that's an example, George. T, if you've seen on Twitter, look up at T-Live. I don't know his full name. Look up at T-Live. He's the example that you were referring to when you're talking about the Kirk Cousins supporters. They're quiet, but then for a game like Buffalo, they'll make an excuse. But yeah, George. Also, I'm glad that you're putting respect into my man Jay Gruden's name. Coach Jay Gruden gets a lot of flack out here in the DMV, but at the same time, I said again, he's a bright coach in mine, and he's gotten this team to be 2-1. They've been to the postseason, in the past, but he has Alex Smith, he has Adrian Peterson, and he's coaching them up. At times, Jay Gruden gets stubborn. He wants to stick to his game plan. He doesn't adjust as much, but I think he's learning and he's becoming a better head coach. And Jay Gruden is for his players, and he really wants to win. And you can see it, and you can see it in his soul, and you can see it in his eyes. Like, the man really wants to win. And I'm all for Jay Gruden. You all know that I'm pro Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden's a guy that I like here in the DMV. On our Facebook page, he posed a question about the bye. Is the bye coming at a good time or a bad time? Brandon Gordy said yes, indeed. George Temple, my man George, also he had a Facebook comment about this. Said with some injuries, yes, it's coming at a good time. Yeah, I agree that it is coming at a good time. Trent had his knee scoped, and he won't miss any games. So I think the bye works out. This works perfectly for the bye with the bye. So Trent should play against the Saints on Monday night. Morgan Moses concussion protocol, so he should be okay. Hopefully he'll be okay. Also getting Michael Floyd, more reps in practice, getting him ready for the team offensive terminology, so he can get ready for hopefully to be active Monday night. So there are a lot of good things that this bias actually came at a good time for this team. But also, I mean, they got to work on some stuff. We talked to Lex about it. This team needs to work on fixing up some of these gaping holes we see in the run game, where offenses are now able to run on this team early to a point where there's effective runs. You saw with the Colts, you saw with the Cardinals initially in the game with David Johnson, and you saw it, to be honest with you, saw with the Packers. They have to close up some of these running lanes, and I think that's something that they can work on in practice. And I've said this before, I want to see them play more Tim Settle. I like what Ioannidis is doing. I like what Jonathan Allen is doing. I like what Payne is doing. But you mixing the young boy Tim Settles, we saw what he can do in preseason. That kid's a baller. We saw it in Virginia Tech. That kid's a baller. So I do want to see Tim Settles play a little bit more. But thank you all for listening to All Skins Everything with the Urban Sports Scene. We appreciate you. A mega happy birthday, man. I love you. R.I.P. Rest in paradise, my man. You've been listening to All Skins Everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio, 1340 AM and 96.9 FM, Hopewell, Virginia for ages. You dig? Deuces. A mega, lead us out, big homie. Happy birthday again, man. Love you, brother.
To the swag,